Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let us continue today's class. In today's class, we are going to concentrate on theory related enhancements So first of all, let me tell you some of the main points related to a theory. So under theory applications, I can say, one second. Theory applications are developed by SAP. One second, some people are facing problem. Hello students, can you hear me? Some students are facing some problem. What about others? Can you hear me? Now, can you see my screen? Can you hear me properly? Okay. Okay, so let me proceed now. So the main topic for today's class is SAP theory. So under SAP theory, I can say SAP theory itself is a package which contains collection. SAP theory is a package and which contains collection of standard applications here. And I can say SAP theory applications are also developed using SAP UI5 plus OData concept. All SAP Fiori applications are also developed using SAP UI5 and OData concept here. Not only that, I can say SAP Fiori applications also supports desktop, tablets, and mobile devices. SAP Fiori applications also supports desktops, tablets, and mobile devices. And in SAP Fiori applications are developed by SAP using SAP.yum library screen elements. SAP.yum library screen elements. So this is a separate library given by SAP, and this SAP.yum is a library used by SAP for developing all the Fiori applications. And SAP Fiori applications are developed using .xml for views, that means for screens, and using .js for controllers. So in SAP Fiori applications, SAP has used .xml for views and .js for controllers. So just remember that. And for SAP Fiori applications are easily customized. SAP Fiori applications are easily customized and enhanced using SAP Web ID tool. SAP Web ID, that is a tool which can be used for customization and enhancing the standard screens. You can also use Eclipse, but
Hello.
Yeah, hi, hi everybody. This is Neeraj. I hope you're also not, Vijay is not audible to you also.
Yeah, he's not audible to me.
Okay,
Yes, same here.
Yeah,
so it's a problem.
maybe
Same.
there's power cut again. Yeah, let me call him once. Yeah.
so SAP Fiori applications are easily customized and enhanced using SAP Web ID tool. So that is a tool which is recommended for, especially for Fiori applications. So that means we are going to utilize SAP Web ID tool. Today and tomorrow mostly we'll be using SAP Web ID tool. And I can say SAP Fiori applications will be available under SAP UI5 ABAP repository. Okay, I think now you can hear. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay, so what I can say is SAP Fiori applications will be available under SAP. So there is one ABAP repository. Inside that ABAP repository, there will be some Fiori applications, and this must be ensured by your administrator. So now inside this SAP Fiori, I can say all the Fiori applications are purely role-based applications. I can say SAP Fiori applications are role-based applications. And not only that, it contains a launchpad. SAP Fiori applications can be accessed using SAP Fiori Launchpad. And this SAP Fiori Launchpad will act like an entry point. SAP Fiori Launchpad will act like an entry point for accessing Fiori apps. And what I can say is under Fiori, there will be some standard roles. Using standard roles, for example, employee role, and there will be a manager role. There is a manager role and sales representative role, and there will be a purchasing agent role, and I can say dealer distributor role, etc. So like that, there will be several roles. And I can say SAP has decided to provide standard Fiori applications to satisfy the common business activities. In order to satisfy the common business activities that happens in every organization, to satisfy common business activities, they have provided some standard screens, standard applications that we call it as Fiori. So SAP Fiori applications are designed, are developed for common business activities. It is for common business activities. For example, I can say approving leave request is a common activity. Approving leave request is a common activity. Approving means approve or reject. Approve or reject leave request is a common activity. So there will be a Fiori application given by SAP here, but internally it is developed based on UI5 plus OData concept. And similarly, approving or rejecting purchase order. Approving or rejecting purchase order That's a common business activity. It's a very common business activity. So SAP has given a Fiori application for that, but internally it is also developed using UI5 and OData concept. And similarly, I can say creating sales order is a common activity. So for that, SAP has given SAP Fiori application here. For that, SAP has given a SAP Fiori application, but it is technically developed based on UI5 plus OData concept. And then checking price and availability. Checking price and availability. It's a common activity. So SAP has given SAP Fiori application, and which is technically developed on UI5 plus OData concept. And similarly, changing sales order. Changing sales order is also a common activity. So there is a Fiori application for that. And similarly, tracking shipments. Tracking shipments is a common activity. So there is a Fiori application developed using UI5 plus OData. And then similarly, tracking sales orders is also a common activity. So there is a Fiori application for that. And I can say applying for a leave. Applying for a leave is a common activity. So there is a Fiori application for that. And similarly, submitting timesheet. Submitting timesheet is a common activity. So there is a Fiori application. So etc. etc. Like that, there are around 500 applications here. Around 500 standard applications are available under SAP Fiori package. But internally, it uses UI5 plus OData concept. Don't forget that. Hello students, now are you able to hear me properly? Can one of you confirm? Can you see my screen properly now? Okay. Okay. Let me proceed. And I can say, Vasant, I think there is some internet problem in your machine because others are able to just log off and log in, Vasant. Okay, then. So, but how exactly we need to enhance or customize a Fiori application? So that is what we have to concentrate now. So let me give one diagram. Let me give one diagram that is important here. So we are going to make use of SAP ECC. ECC internally contains UI5 ABAP repository. We are going to use SAP ECC, but internally contains UI5 ABAP repository. And inside this UI5 ABAP repository, your administrator will add all the applications. It's a responsibility of administrator to add all the add-ons related to UI5 and Fiori and NetWeaver Gateway. So when they add the add-ons, or when you apply add-ons to ECC server with respect to Fiori, then you'll get all the standard applications here. Like you'll get all standard applications. Standard Fiori app will be available here with the source code. And there will be a standard Fiori app 2. There will be standard Fiori app 3, etc. So what I mean to say is your SAP ECC UI5 ABAP repository contains all your standard Fiori applications. It contains all your standard Fiori application, and you will get it only when you add the packages. Administrator has to add the corresponding packages related to Fiori on ECC server. Then you will get all those things in UI5 repository. Now, as a developer, what we are going to do is of we are going to make use of SAP Web ID tool. As a developer, we have to use this particular tool in our machine. We have to use this tool in our machine, and what you need to do is we have to import this particular an application. The application whichever you want to enhance, or the application whichever you want to customize. The application whichever you want to enhance or customize, that application you have to import here into Web ID tool. So here you have to import standard Fiori app. That is what we need to do. After importing, you will get the source code here. For example, there is a Fiori app. So after importing, you'll get a Fiori app here, whichever you import. After importing, we have to make some changes. After import, we make changes, and that means we can make changes to the screens, we can make changes to the coding part, we can add new features, we can remove the existing options. After importing a Fiori app into Web ID tool, as a developer, we can make several changes to the screens. So after making some changes to Fiori apps, what we can do is we can After making some changes to Fiori app, what we generally do is we can deploy that application back to UI5 repository. So that means here, as a developer, after making changes to the Fiori app, we try to deploy Fiori app back to UI5 ABAP repository. So these are the three things that you need to notice. Import, then make changes to that app, and then deploy that app back to UI5 repository. This is what happens. 1, this is like activity 2, this is like activity 3. So this is the strategy. This is a strategy you need to follow whenever you are dealing with Fiori standard applications and if you want to apply enhancements. Import the app, make the changes, then deploy back. So let me write a simple note. Step 1, import standard Fiori app from SAP UI5 ABAP repository into SAP Web ID tool. That's the first thing that you need to do. Step 2, make changes to screens or functionalities on that standard Fiori app. And step 3, what we do is we deploy that Fiori app back to SAP UI5 ABAP repository. This is what we generally do. Hello students, can you hear me? Now is it okay? Yeah. Okay. So in your case, say for example, if you want to install Web ID tool to use SAP Web ID tool, so let me tell you a note here. SAP Web ID tool is a browser-based tool. And I can say SAP Web ID tool can be used from below link. So you can see there is one URL. There is a URL. Under that URL, you need to register that for Web ID tool. You can see this is a SAP website, account.hanatrial.ondemand.com. account.hanatrial.ondemand.com. From that, after going to that site, you have to register with some username, first name, last name, password, and email ID. When you register there, they will send the link of Web ID tool so that by using that link, you can practice in your machine. So you can see here, let me open that. You can see that is a let me copy this. So you can see here, there is a register option. There is a register option here. You can see that. When I click on register, it will open one registration screen. And here you provide username, first name, last name, email ID, password which you want to set for web ID. And then you have to choose by email. You can choose by email and you can choose I acknowledge. After providing email ID, first name, last name, password, what happens is when you click on register, one mail will be sent to your Gmail or the email ID which you have provided. And when SAP sends a email to you, in that there will be a link for connecting to Web ID tool. Just open that link in browser and comfortably you can access Web ID tool. Okay, so that is what you need to notice. From above link, register for SAP Web ID tool. An email will be sent to your inbox with Web ID URL. Copy that URL and open in browser. That's it. That is what you need to do. After completing the class, you try with this. It's very simple. Register, you'll get one link, open that link in browser. After registering, you'll get one link with URL, open that URL in a browser and it will connect to Web ID tool. So, but in my case, administrator has installed locally. You can see here, this is how it looks like. You can see this is a Web ID tool. You can see SAP Web ID tool. So what you can do is after opening Web ID tool, first what you do is you create one folder here. You can create one folder. For example, purchase order, approve Fury app. You can give some name. And after providing that particular folder, just right click here and try to import application from SAP UI5 ABAP repository. You can just right click here, import application from SAP UI5 ABAP repository. So from Web ID, it will connect to UI5 ABAP repository. From that repository, you can download SAP. So let me write that. Open Web ID tool, choose file, then folder. From file, you have to create new folder. You can see that. Provide folder name. Provide folder name, for example, approve purchase order Fury app. So this is what you need to do. After doing this, just right click your folder and import from import application from SAP UI5 ABAP repository. So that is one thing that you need to know. You have to import the application from UI5 repository to the WebID tool. So you can see, you can go to File, New and Import. Sorry, you can right click your folder, choose Import application from UI5 ABAP repository. Right click folder, import application from UI5 repository. So let me do that. You can see here. Then it will ask for your ABAP UI5 repository. You can provide some user ID here with some password. And when you log in, it will try to open all the Fiori apps. You can see here, there are some Fiori apps here. There will be custom applications and there will be some standard applications also. So whatever it may be, all the applications will be ultimately deployed to UI5 repository. So it opens standard applications as well as custom applications. For example, you can see there is a approve leave request. That is a standard application here. You can see approve leave request and my leave request and approve timesheets and tracking shipments and approve purchase contracts, approve purchase orders, approve requisitions and order from requisitions, confirming production order, releasing production order. So all these are standard applications here. You can see customer invoices. You can see my contacts, view, edit and create. And checking the price and availability. Creating sales order, changing the sales order, tracking the sales order. Create sales order, changing sales order, tracking sales order. So like that, there will be some Fiori applications here. Okay, so now say for example, I want to take one application which is easy to understand with respect to enhancements. So let me select like approve purchase orders here. I'm selecting approve purchase orders. So here, for example, choose approve purchase order app and just click on OK. Just click on OK. So when you do that, now you can see, now you can see here, you will get one option like import started. That is a purchase order approval application. It contains several files, index file, views with .xml, controllers with .js, and there will be CSS files, etc., etc. So everything will be available and it will be imported into our WebID tool. So let me check here, and you can see now you are getting a message as finished successfully. It has imported. After that, you are getting something like import of that so-and-so application is finished. So after importing, okay, let me write here. When we import the complete source code of that app will be imported into web ID tool. It will be imported into web ID tool. And I can say after importing, you will get several files and folders here. You can see here all these things. If you closely observe, there are several things that are available here. You can see that. So after importing, you'll get all these things like CSS file, I18 properties files. You will get formatter file. You will get formatter file, and you will also get something like this: purchase order summary view, purchase order details view, purchase orders view. And each view contains one controller also. Each view contains one controller here. So everything will be imported into web ID tool. So let us go according to this specific application now. Approve purchase order Fury app contains below files. One is purchase order orders.view.xml file, plus it contains one controller. It contains controller also. And similarly, there will be purchase orders dot purchase order details dot view.xml, plus there will be purchase order details controller.js. You'll get JS files for controllers. Approximately I'm writing. So each view contains one controller. Views will be in .xml, views will be in .xml format, controllers will be in .js format. Views will be in .xml format, controllers will be in .js format. So similarly, purchase order summary view. Plus there will be purchase order summary.controller.js. Something like this. And not only that, there will be some .css file. There will be .css file, cascading style sheet file. And there will be not only .css, there will be something like formatter.js file, etc. And there will be I18 properties files, etc. So these are the main things. Most of the applications generally contains this type of files: .xml, .js, .cs, and .properties. Situation for every application. So for every application, generally we get the same thing, same type of files. The file names may be different, but .xml files, .js, .cs, .properties, you will get automatically for every application. So let me write a note here. In general, every Fiori app contains .xml file, .js file, .css file, .properties files, and there will be something like .html file. That's it. Whatever may be the Fiori application, generally you will find these things. The file names may be different, but ultimately the extensions will be .xml, .js, .cs, .properties, and .html. So now, first thing what you need to do is, after importing, first try to check what is the default screens of this app and try to understand the behavior of this particular application. So I just want to test the standard application at present before making some changes. So think like this. Say for example, okay, let me test it here. There is a index file. You can run. I just want to test with, here you can see this is the standard application. Left side there is one master screen, right side there is a detail screen. Left side this is a master screen and right side this is a detail screen. So I can say the person who is accessing this application, what he will do is he can select a particular master data, then right side you will get the items of that particular purchase order. Left side it will show all the purchase order basic information, and for each purchase order there will be purchase order general information and purchase order items here. Purchase order items here, along with purchase order basic information. Whenever you select that specific purchase order, you can see here it is changing when you change the selection. So the items will change. Now there are 5 items for this one. Now there are 8 items for this one. So this is like a master detail screen. In Fiori we call it as master detail screen. When you select left side with a master, right side you'll get the details. But in this application I can say in approve purchase order, in approve purchase order standard app, we get master detail screens. That is purchase order and purchase order items with general information. Purchase order and purchase order items with general information will be displayed something like this in our screen. Now this is a standard screen now. The standard screen, and most importantly I can say the main purpose of this application is to approve or reject a purchase order. Say for example I want to approve purchase order, this one, you can select that and you can click on approve here. There is approve and reject button at the bottom, red and green color. there is a approve reject button, red and green color. So when user selects this, and with this particular screen, a end user can approve a single purchase order. He can approve single purchase order, or he can reject a single purchase order by default. And not only that, if a user want to approve or reject multiple purchase orders, if user want to approve or reject multiple purchase orders, then he has to click on this button. You can see there is a one button here. You can see when you select that button on top, you'll get that. And what user can do is he can select the required purchase orders. He can select required purchase orders, and the corresponding items of each purchase order is displayed here. The purchase order items for each purchase order will be displayed right side. You can see that. Okay. So, and now there is a approve all button. There is approve all button, reject all button at the bottom with green and red color. You can see that. Now what he can do is, if he click on approve all, whatever the purchase orders are selected, all those things can be approved. And whatever the purchase orders that are selected can also be rejected. So that is the main theme. That is the main theme of this particular application. So let me write that note. The main functionality of this application is to approve or reject a single purchase order, or he can approve or reject multiple purchase orders. So it's up to the person who is accessing this application. This application allows users to approve single purchase order, or he can approve multiple purchase orders at a time. That is the main theme of the standard Fiori application. So now what we can do, this is the main theme, but what we can do is we can enhance these standard screens. We can add some new features. We can add some new fields in table, form, or wherever required inside your standard application. So this is the standard screen now. Say for example, think like this. For this standard screen, this is a standard screen. For this standard screen, I may get some new requirements to enhance this such that the users are satisfied. And most importantly, the same application, now this is the desktop view. When users are accessing application through desktop, it looks like this. But when users are accessing application from tablet, it looks like this. When users are accessing application from tablet, it looks like this. Same fields, but it will be like responsive layout. And if the users are accessing the same application through mobile, then it looks like this. It looks like this. So initially, when you're accessing through mobile, initially it will display all the purchase orders assigned to that particular user. And if he selects a particular purchase order, and then he will get the general information plus purchase order items. And there is a approve button, and there will be a reject button. He can select a specific purchase order. He will get the purchase order items along with general information. And he can approve or reject through mobile device. So this is the this is how it looks like when you access the same application through mobile. You need not write special coding for mobile, desktop, and tablet. The same application will work. The code, whatever is written, it works for all the devices. It works for all the devices. So all Fiori applications, I can say they are device independent. All the Fiori applications, I can say they're totally device independent here. So just remember that same application can be accessed through any type of device. So if you want to verify how it looks like in tablet, how it looks like in mobile, so these are the three options which we have. Large, it is for desktop view, medium is for tablet view, and small is for mobile view. So now what I can say is I may get some requirements here for changing the screens. So for example, this is a standard screen with general information. There is a standard screen here with general information like purchase order ID and purchase order delivery date, purchase order something like delivery to, address with country, address, and etc. They are available here. Now what I want to do is I want to provide something like this. This is a screen, but I want to provide some panel by using sap.m library. I want to add panel to this general info screen. I want to add panel to this particular highlighted screen. Then first of all, you can see here under web ID, after importing, you'll get all the files. There is a purchase order details view. There is a purchase order details view. Under purchase order details view, if you closely observe, there is some code which is in some tags. In the form of tags, the code is available. In the form of tags, the screens are designed here. Everywhere you will see the tags. But now you can say, I want to add one panel to this particular general information screen. I want to add panel to this general info screen. So what you can do is, you can go to that particular option here. You can see there is a form. If you closely observe this, there's a form tag and close form tag, and within that there is a purchase order ID and purchase order delivery date and purchase order address, etc., etc. You can see that. So that means the screen is loaded. The screen, whatever we are seeing under general information, it is loaded because of this tags here. Now what I can do is I can add some coding here. I can add some code, for example, panel. So when you use control space, you'll get that here. But before that, let me write one requirement. Add panel to general information screen. Box or screen, whatever. So how to do that? So you can use your tags here, like panel. You can see as soon as you use control space, you'll get that. there is a panel option. And for panel, there is an expandable option. So you can make it, for example, true here. You will get all the possibilities, true, false, properties, tags, everything you'll get when you use control space. So I'm using true here, and expanded. By default, it should be expanded. Sorry, by default, I'm making expanded as false. Expandable as true, expanded as false, and I want to display some header text here. Header text, for example, Oasis, something like purchase order, general screen. Just for our understanding, I'm providing that. And now this tag should be closed. This tag should be closed at the end of this form here, because I want to attach this panel for the entire form. So begin the panel tag here and close the panel tag here. Very simple. So you can save it now and let us test it. Now you can see there is a panel tag. Because of panel tag, now you can see this, we call it as Oasis purchase order general info, and we are able to add a panel for the general information screen. This is how it looks like. And after adding, it will be reflected for all the types of devices. We don't write code specific to a device. The code what we write, that will be general for all the devices. So you can see if I go to small, there also you will get it. There also will get it. This is how it looks like. Okay, so this is how we can add a panel. So let me copy this code. Open purchase order details view.xml and implement code, something like this. So here there will be tag for simple form. So already simple form is available from in the standard screen. On that we have surrounded with panel. Some dot coding is already available, so I'm not copying that. Whatever we have added, just I'm providing here. Panel is a tag. It is a screen element, and screen element contains a tag as a panel, and panel is surrounded for the form which is already existing in standard screen. So this is a code we have implemented for panel. So similarly, say for example, think like this. For example, I want to add some new field and label with something like Oasis, with something like company name, with some Oasis. And I want to add something like a new field with some hyperlink. Just for our understanding, I'm providing hyperlink, and it should go to something like www.oasis.com or something like google.com or whatever. And I want to add a new field with something like image. something like this. So let us see how to proceed with this. Very simple. Just observe now. Everything will be in the form of tags when you are making changes in .xml file. So let me go to this here. So you can see there is one option here under simple form. Under simple form, at the end of this form, I want to assign. So I'm using some label. You can use some label, and label contains text property. So don't forget, all these screen elements are internally coming from sap.em library. sap.em library. So label is also coming from sap.em library. And it contains a text property. So put it in double quotes. Something like that. You can close it. And I want to provide some text. So you can use text. The text is also coming from sap.em library, and text also contains text property. You can just provide like something like this. And I want to generate hyperlink. So then you can provide some label. Label text, for example, website. And for this, I can use link. Link is one of the option. You can see here, link. Link is one of the option. And link also contains some important property, text. I want to provide, for example, Google, and then there will be some href property. Href is another important property of hyperlink. And that is equal to, you can provide, for example, http://www. And you can provide some target equal to underscore blank. Otherwise, it won't redirect. So everything, whatever we add in .xml files, it will be in the form of tags here. Label is a tag for label screen element. Text is a tag for text screen element. Link is a tag for link hyperlink screen element. Panel is a tag for panel screen element. And all these screen elements, they're coming from sap.em library. So not only that, let me use one icon here. Just for our understanding, I'm providing some text equal to some logo. And I can use some image field. You can see IMAGE. Image is a tag, and it is coming from sap.em library internally. And it contains src, that is a property. src is a property. Equal to, I want to use, for example, oasis.zip file. That's it. You can add label text, label link, label image. Label with text, label with link, label with image, etc., etc. Hello students, can you hear me properly now? Can you see my screen properly? What about others? Yeah. Okay. So this is how we can add, but this image should be imported. Your image, whatever you are using here, it should be imported. So first import that image also before testing. You can right click, import file. And you can browse. You can browse, and you can browse to some image. Let me take one image, for example. something like oasis.zip file. Let me import that at present. So now the file is imported here. Oasis.zip file that is imported. So it is case sensitive, I think, so better use as it is. So now let me test it. Just right click your index file, run in the browser. Now you can see when you expand, you will get all those things. But this image is not up to the mark. So what we can do is we can provide some width and height here. For example, you can see width is a property. You can use, for example, 100 pixels. And we can use, for example, height. And you can make it, for example, 140 pixels. You can try all those things. If you use control space, you'll get all the properties of that screen element. Height, SRC, width, visible, etc., etc. Just use control space, you'll get all the properties. And just let us refresh here. Just refresh. And it is not loading, so that means there is some problem here. Remove double quotes. Okay, now it should work. Save it and refresh here. So you can see now this is more meaningful. If required, you can still change it. Save, refresh the screen, and you can see the difference now. So if you closely observe, these are the options we have attached. Panel, this is a label, this is the text, again this is a label, and this is a hyperlink, and there's a label with some image. So we can add different screen elements by using that sap.yum related tags. So you can see here, if I click on this Google, then it is going to that. If I click on that, there's a hyperlink, so it will definitely redirect to that website. Okay, so it is working fine. And what about in a mobile device, whether it will be working in mobile device or not? You can also go to small category and you can check here. You can see whatever the tags we have added, it will be available. Company name, Google website, and some image. And it redirects. Of course, it will redirect in your mobile device, but this is how the things will display in your Fiori screen. And below that, there is some list of items. Okay, let me go to the coding part. Let me add these things in your note file. Implement the below code. You can just implement that. Wherever required, you can use that code. Now remember, here I wrote a very important point, that is SAP Fiori apps are developed using .xml for views and screens. And they're going to use .js for controllers. I'll tell you how to make changes in the controller, how to add the function, that we are going to do it, don't worry. But .xml is the extension for your views and screens in Fiori. And you can see there is sap.yum. All the screen elements, whatever I'm using, they are coming from sap.yum library. And as I told you, all these applications can be accessed on any device, so it is device independent. Okay, so let me go with one more option here. So what I want to do is, for example, I want to use a carousel requirement, add carousel in purchase order details screen or details view. Okay, hello students, just take 5 minutes break, then we'll continue. Don't log off, okay, just take 5 minutes break, then we'll proceed, okay. Hello students, are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello students, can you see my screen? Can you hear me now? Okay. What about others? Okay. So say for example, I want to add a carousel in UI in Fiori screen. I want to add a carousel inside a Fiori screen. So what you need to do is, we have already discussed how to use carousel in regular UI5 screens, but you should also know how to make use of that in Fiori screens. So for that, there is one separate tag to do that. So carousel is a tag that is available in sap.m library. So let me use that here. Above the form, just above the form, I'm using carousel. And carousel, I want to use some height, for example, 200 pixels. And I want to use width, for example, 350 pixels. So that is how you can add a carousel. But inside carousel, carousel should be added always inside the content area. You can add carousel inside the content here. And inside a carousel, what you can do is you can add some pages. Content contains carousel, carousel contains pages, and under pages, you can add whichever images you want or whichever hyperlinks you want. So say for example, I want to display some photographs under carousel. So you can use your image tag here. src equal to something like vasant.jpg. You can use like this. Similarly, I want to use some more images here. Something like this. And let me import all these images into the project. You can right click, import file. You can right click, import file, and you can import all the required images from here. So one at a time it will import. One at a time it will import. So let me import all the images one at a time. Just I'm importing those images. So you can import file, browse. Let me take one last one. So let us provide those names here. So provide image names after importing. So let us test it now. You can just refresh here and you can see now there is a panel, table, panel, and now there is a carousel and it contains all these images here. Contains all these images here. So it is also applicable. It is also applicable on a mobile device. You can see that. So this is how a carousel looks like. But inside a carousel, what you can do is you can also make use of some text or some hyperlink if necessary. Not only images, you can show some text or image, or you can use hyperlink. So let me try that. Let me copy the code. For example, this one, link inside carousel. I'm just taking one link inside carousel, and let me try with some text also. Just for our understanding, I'm taking some text also inside carousel. So let us test it here. Now you can see there are images. Not only image, you can see, not only image, there is a Google hyperlink. And not only hyperlink, you can see some text. You can see some text. So I mean to say, inside carousel, you can add any type of screen element, and this is applicable even for, you can add any type of screen element inside carousel, even in UI5 application also. So just remember that. So let me copy that code. So that is one content area. So you can create any number of content areas in a single screen. You can create any number of content areas in a single screen. I've created one separate content area with a carousel. In carousel, we are adding some scrollable pages here. We are adding some scrollable pages with different screen elements. So you can try this. Okay, let me copy this and provide here. Note, inside carousel, we can add any type of screen element. For example, text, image, link, etc. Okay, so now let us go with one more option, like how to create a form. How to create a form inside this Fury screens. So let us go according to that. And in a form, I want to create some text fields, labels. I want to create slider. I want to take radio buttons, drop downs, date and time fields, button, checkbox, text area, etc., etc. Rating indicator, slider, everything I want to use. So what my requirement is, say for example, adding a new form, with all different screen elements like text, label, slider, rating indicator, switch. Switch is one screen element, and I want to use drop down, radio button group, and I want to use text area, then button, etc. And date time input, slider, rating indicator, switch, then checkbox, etc. So I want to use how to utilize all these screen elements in Fiori screens. So for every screen element, as I said, there will be a separate tag. For every screen element, there will be a separate tag. So we can use different tags for different screen elements to add those things inside a form. Inside a form, I want to add different options. So what you can do is you can see, let us take one separate form here. This is the code. This is the code given by SAP for creating a form. I'll use the same properties, and after that I'll make some changes to those properties. You can see there is a form, simple form, and there is a end of that simple form. You can see there is a form begin tag, there is a form closing tag. So let me take that as it is, and I want to create a new content area. So let me copy this form tag up to here. This is a form tag. I'm copying that. I want to use somewhere here, and let us close that form. That is simple form. So I'm closing that. And here for this form, I want to provide some title. For this form, I want to provide title. For example, just for our understanding, I'm writing I'm taking some name as purchase agent form. And there's a form begin tag, there's a form closing tag. Now within this form, you can try with different screen elements by using different tags, and all those tags will come from sap.em library. So for example, I want to use one label, and some text equal to, for example, enter employee ID, or enter something like employee ID or whatever. Just let us make it as simple as possible. And similarly, I want to provide a facility to provide some input by the user. I want to accept some input from the user, so you can use input. Input, that means input field. And you can provide some value, that is, for example, default value 1001, and I want to make that closing tag here. Let us save it and let us refresh. Now you can see there is a purchase agent form here. There is a purchase agent form with some employee ID, and this is a text field here. That is nothing but we use input. Input is a tag for generating the text fields. Input is a tag for generating text fields. Remember that. So user can provide some input here. User can provide some input. So let me add different screen elements now. Let me take one more, that is, for example, name with some value as some default name I'm providing here. For example, age, then for example, address. So like that, you can add any number of screen elements and you can add any number of input fields, and let us see the difference after refreshing. So this is how your form looks like now. This is how a form looks like. And all these are your text fields because we are using input tag. Input tag is to generate text fields. So now let me add different screen elements. And you can also use one property like, let me try design equal to bold. Design equal to bold, then that label will be dark. Design equal to bold, then the label of that field becomes dark. You can see now. There is some difference here in terms of a label. It is dark. Now, not only that, we can also make several changes when we go for CSS. I want to provide some red color for the label. Then we can apply CSS here also. So that we are going to understand, don't worry. But at present, let us concentrate on the screen fields now. Now, not only inputs, not only text fields. For example, I want to use like a checkbox. I want to use a checkbox. Then first of all, let me add one label here. Label. And this is a label for checkbox. Say, for example, I want to learn SAP theory, something like that. And if you want to create checkbox, there is a tag here, checkbox. There is a tag that is checkbox, and you can use closing tag. And here you can use some properties like you can use checkbox. There will be some properties like selected. Selected by default, the checkbox should be selected, so you can pass the true value. False, deselected, true is for selected. So default will be selected for the checkbox. And not only that, I want to use one switch screen element. So first of all, let me take one more label. One more label. This is for example, something like that. So here you can use something like switch statement. And for switch statement, you can use state. State equal to something like true here. True or false. And not only switch statement, I want to use one slider. So first of all, let me copy the label. Label. Something like that. And you can use a slider, something like this, slider. And slider default value, I want to provide, for example, 30 as a default, or 80, I want to provide default selected value. For slider, we are providing default selected value as 80 here. Not only slider, we can also use rating indicator. We can use rating indicator. So first of all, let me provide the label. Just for our understanding, we are writing like that. And if you want to use a rating indicator, you can use that tag. And rating indicator, I want to provide maximum value. Maximum value, I want to provide it as 5, so you can use that. Or if you want to use 10, you can use that. And default rating, I want to provide, for example, 7. Default rating, for example, 7. You can provide like that. And similarly, I want to use, for example, I want to use a drop-down box. I want to use drop-down box. So first let me provide the label. Something like this. For drop-down box, there is one tag that is select tag. Select is the tag for drop-down. Select is the tag for drop-down. And inside this select tag, you can use core items. You can use core item here. You can use core item. And in core item, you have to provide key and text property. You have to provide key and text property. The same properties, whatever we used in UI5, the same properties are applicable here also. When we were using drop-down in UI5, we were using key and text. The same thing you have to provide here. Key, for example, IN, and the text is, for example, India. You can provide like this. And similarly, you can add any number of static values here. You can add any number of static values. And you can add list of countries, SL, something like Sri Lanka here. Something like this. You can add list of static values like this by using a select tag. Select is a tag for your drop-down box. Now, say for example, I want to use radio button group. For example, I want to use radio button group. Then what you need to do? So first you can take one label. First take one label. And this is for, say for example, course. This is for course, and I want to use radio button group. There is a screen element like radio button group. Let me select here. Radio button group. And inside radio button group, you can provide the number of columns. You can provide number of columns, for example, 5. And inside radio button group, you can provide some radio buttons. You can provide radio buttons. So there should be a buttons tag here. There should be buttons tag. And inside buttons tag, you can add your radio buttons. So that's the approach we have to follow. And for radio buttons, you can provide some text equal to SAP UI5. And like that, you can add several radio buttons, and these are static values here. something like that. You can add list of radio buttons in a radio button group. And not only radio button group, I want to use, for example, a text area. I want to use a text area. So let me use here. First of all, take the label. Label and this text area for providing comments. And for text area, there is a separate screen element like text area. That is a tag. You can use it. For text area, you can use rows and columns. Similar to our UI5, there will be rows. There will be rows. Something like I want to use 8 rows or 10 rows. It's up to you. And I want to use columns. So that's a property. If you use control space, you'll get that. Columns, for example, 80. Columns 80. And if you want to provide any default value, then you can use that value, something like default value. Something like that. So text area will allow input with multiple lines. Text area will allow input with multiple lines. And not only that, we can also make use of a date and time input. We can also make use of date and time input. So first of all, let me go with date picker. So first let me take a label. For example, date of something like this. And here you can see there is a screen element like date picker. Let me check. Date picker, and you can use some value. For example, default I want to provide. Default value I want to provide. For example, in double quotes, something like 2014, something like -03 -26. So you can provide some default selected date here. You can provide default selected date by using value property. And I want to use this value format. There is a value format, that is one property, and that you can make use of by using something like here you can use something like YYY hyphen MM hyphen DD. That is one of the format for dates. You can use that. Date picker, value format. Okay, at present, let me test it. So let us refresh here. So there is some problem. Let me check where exactly the problem is. Text area. Here you can see text area. It is closed here. And double quotes is missing, so that might be the problem. Okay, let us test it here at this level after making changes. Still there is a problem. Let me check here. There is extra closing tag. Now let us refresh here. And you can see now we are able to get all the screen elements. This is our panel, and before the panel we have added several screen elements here. And if you closely observe the screen, these are the text fields. These are the text fields. User can enter some value. Something like that. And there is a drop down. You can see there is a drop down with all the list of countries. And there is a course with radio button group. Course is available with radio button group. Countries available with drop down. You can see that. And you can see there is a checkbox with default selected. There is a checkbox with default selected, and there is a state on and off. This is nothing but a switch. On off, that is nothing but a switch. On top there is a checkbox. On top there is a radio buttons. There is a drop down now, and there is a text fields here, and you can also see slider. Slider default is 80. Now I made it, for example, 49. And there is a rating indicator. By default 7, but user can change it. You can change it. And there is a text area where you can enter some comments here. Some comments you can provide. And you can see there is a date picker field. You'll get the calendar here. There is a date picker field where you'll get the complete calendar. Something like that. You can see here. You can see everything. Now I have selected April 19, 2022. Now this is today's date. I have selected that. So date picker, text area, slider, rating indicator. This is a switch on and off, and checkbox, drop down, something like that, and text fields. So like that you can add different screen elements in a form. You can add different screen elements in a form, and you can see here the label text. I think you can change it. Let me go to label, and for each label I think you can use some option like, you can see text alignment. Text alignment you can use, for example, left. So you can try like that. Let me try once. Now you can see it is left alignment, but what are the other options here? You can see there is begin, there is some problem. Let me check what's the problem. Begin in double quotes. Begin should be in double quotes. That is for text alignment I made changes. So let us refresh here. So you can see now. So you can try all those things. They are simple properties as well. So this is how you can create a form. Now not only that, not only these screen elements, there is one more screen element like date and time input. There is one more screen element that is nothing but date and time input. So let me try that once. First let me take one label. Date and time. Input is one of, okay, let me take the label here. Just let us copy that previous label and let us change the text. So you can use like, there is one screen element like date, time input. There is a screen element like date time input, so you can use that. And for this, you can use some datetime input with type. Type is one of the property. And I want to provide a facility where user can select date along with time. Then you have to use type as date time. You can use only date, you can use only time, or you can use date time, whichever is required. You can choose only date, you can use date time, you can choose time. So as of now, I'm choosing date time as the type of the field. So let us see how it looks like. So let us see here. So you can see, you will get this as soon as user selects that field, it will open month, date, year, hours, minutes, and AM, PM. Just a user can scroll. These are all more compatible with, you can access from any device, but these are generally used in mobile related screens. You can scroll, for example, I'm selecting March and 22. You can scroll like this. And you can see there is a year. There is year 2010, and you can use hours and AM, PM. And everything, when you click on OK, after selecting that, if you click on OK, then you'll get that entire date, month, year, hours, minutes, and AM, PM. So that is one thing that you can utilize. So say for example, if I use only time, you can see the difference in the output now. So it will display only hours, minutes, and AM, PM. So you can see that 9:53 PM, something like that. Only time it is accepting. Okay. So let me copy this code with the date time. Let me copy. So we have added these type of screen elements. So that's a code I have pasted. So you can add different screen elements like this. Now say for example, I want to add a button. For example, I want to add a button. So what you need to do here is you can use one button tag. You can use a button tag, and for button you can provide some text here. For example, submit, or for example, edit. And you can also use some icon. For buttons, you can also use icon, something like icon equal to, for example, you can provide some icons like this based on your choice. At present, I am not using any function. I am not using any event. We will discuss how to use function and event. Don't worry, but at present, just it is going to display button. So let me save it here. And you can see now there is a button with edit option here. There is a button with edit option. You can see there are some standard types of buttons like accept, reject, back, etc., etc. So for example, I'm using emphasized. So there is some difference here. Now you can see it is highlighted with blue color. So you can change the style of the button, and don't forget all the screen elements can be accessed on a tablet. It works on tablet. You can see this is how it looks like. On tablet, this is how it looks like. You can see that. And the same screen is also accessible through mobile. This is how it looks like. This is our form. Drop downs. You can see drop down. If I select drop down, you can see it is trying to zoom in. It is trying to zoom in, and it is opening the values. You can see the behavior. On, off, slider, rating, etc., etc. And you can see it is trying to zoom in whenever I select. If you're accessing the same application through mobile, so it tries to zoom in whenever you select the date picker, and it will try to open all these things. And similarly for date and time, you can see this is how it looks like. For date and time field, you can select hours, minutes, date, month, year, etc. AM, PM. So that is registered here. So let me copy this code also for button. Okay. Now, say for example, think like this. I want to change the look and feel of that particular screen. I want to provide some look and feel for this particular form which we have designed. I want to apply some style sheet for this particular form which we have created. So what you can do now? Okay, let me write a requirement here. Add custom style class to the form in Fiori screen. Add custom style class to the form in Fiori screen. That is, in Fiori, in SAP Fiori standard screens, we can apply CSS concept. That means cascading style sheet concept. That is possible. In SAP Fiori standard screens, we can apply CSS, that is cascading style sheet concept, if required. But how? You can see, first of all, you have to go to something like a CSS folder. Whenever you import a project, it contains one CSS folder here. You can see that. And in that CSS folder, there is one class, that is CSS file, which is coming with the standard screen .css, and you can see there is some code available in this one. So there are different style classes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. There are different style classes available in this .css file when we import our standard application into WebID tool. Okay, but what we can do here is we can create our own style class in .css, and we can attach that style class to the corresponding screen element like form or a table or whatever. For entire page, it all depends. So now you might have remembered we have applied some CSS in SAP UI5 in UI5 screens. The same properties I want to apply here. Okay, so let me just open Eclipse tool here. Let me open Eclipse tool. So I've already explained how to use CSS concept in general UI5 applications. The same CSS properties I'll try to apply for our Fiori screen, which we are trying to make some changes. So let me take that file. You can see one .css. You can see here. So we have maintained some properties. My style, border style, color. You can see here, color red, background orange, background image Sachin.jpg, padding, visibility, text alignment, font size, font style, margin from left side, the main margin, letter spacing, and you can use transform, rotate, all those type of options. So what I'll do is I'll copy the same properties from CSS from UI5 application, and what I'll do is I'll try to utilize in our WebID tool, and we'll try to add it under approve PO style.css file. I'll try to paste it here. My style, and these are the properties which we maintained in UI5, same properties I'm using. Instead of writing again and again, I'm just using directly with copy paste procedure. So you can save it now. You can copy this. Step 1, open .css file in your standard application and maintain style class. For example, you can take like this. Maintain style class with required properties, and something like this you can take. Step 2, open .xml file and go to the corresponding screen element. For example, I want to apply for form, simple form. So you can go to that simple form screen element and change the style class name. Change the style class name equal to, you can provide it as my style, because that's a my style is a class name we have provided. Then step 3, save and test. That's it. So, but I need to take one file with Sachin.jpg. Let me try to use that before testing. Here you can see purchase order detail screen. I'm just making all the changes in purchase order detail screen, and we are trying to understand some tags. So here we have added all the form related screen elements under simple form, and simple form contains one option here, style class. Just observe this. This is a simple form, and simple form contains a class that is nothing but, that is not the object oriented class, that is a style class. Are you getting my point? That is not related to anything like object-oriented class. It is related to a style class. SAP is using some style class, but instead of using that, I want to use my custom style. So that's the reason why I'm trying to make changes here. And I'm providing as my style. That's it. This is nothing but style class. And this style class we are attaching to simple form. So it is applicable for simple form. But the same style class you can assign to entire page. You can also assign to table. You can also assign to any other screen element if necessary. Table concept we'll discuss tomorrow. But at present I'm applying this style class on form. So you can save it, and before testing, try to import something like Sachin.jpg because I'm using that as a background image. So for example, this one. Okay, you can save now, and let us test it. Let us refresh. Now you can see the screen looks like this. So this is far better than the previous output. I have applied only for form, so it is applied. The properties are applied at form level here. Border green color, background Sachin, and there is a letter spacing, etc., etc. Okay, so that is how it looks like, and the same thing will happen even on a mobile device. You can see that. You can see that. This is how it will appear. But what you need to do is you have to restrict the total form width. Total form width you can restrict by using width property. Okay. Then let me go back. Say for example, if you want to apply with, for example, like a hover is also possible. So not only hover, you can also make use of a transform option by going to your CSS file. You can use like transform, that is also possible with something like rotate. For example, minus 20 degrees, that's it. So transformation with respect to rotation is possible here. So let us check what happens now. Is there any problem? Okay, put semicolon, then test it now. So now you can see the form is in a rotation with minus 20 degrees. Form is in a rotation with minus 20 degrees. So everything will work. There won't be any problem here. Okay, that is how it looks like. Generally not recommended, but whatever CSS properties are available, you can apply for your Fiori screens also. That is the main theme, that is the main point. So style class name, provide the properties in .css, go to your .xml file which contains a form. Under form there is a style class name. For style class name, try to provide your custom style. Then save and test it. That's it. So let me write a simple note. Same style class can be used for multiple screen elements. That is possible. That is possible. And this is also possible. We can use different screen elements, different style classes can be used for different screen elements. That is also possible. And style class can also be applied for entire page. That is also possible. You can just check the coding. In coding part, there will be class that is nothing but style class, you can provide it to entire page as well. So that is also possible. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll stop for today, and tomorrow we'll understand some more concepts. Okay. Today I'll stop at this point, and if there is any doubt, tomorrow itself I'll clarify, because we are just in the middle of that. We'll try to understand some more options tomorrow. Okay. After that, I'll take doubts one by one. Okay. Right. And remember, tomorrow's class is not the end of the course. We are going to have some more classes. Okay. But tomorrow we are going to continue with these theory related concepts. Okay. Yeah. Any doubt? Tomorrow I'll clarify.
Yeah, but just one sec. Actually, I just joined late. So could you just brief me 1 or 2 minutes? Can you just show me what happened today?
Today what we have done is like, I explained like what exactly SAP theory is. I explained some theory here. This theory already I covered when I was taking our first demo class. Like theory apps are device independent. There are custom activities in theory like approve leave request, approve purchase orders, creating sales orders. So these are all common activities. So SAP has given theory applications for that. And as a developer, how to make some enhancements. So first you have to import, make the changes, and at last we have to deploy. We are going to understand that procedure. Okay, we have to import a theory app from ABAP repository into WebID tool. We have to import the standard theory app from ABAP repository into WebID tool. After that, you can make some changes to your screens and functionalities. Then you can deploy the app back to UI5 repository. So the third step, how to deploy, I'm going to cover in tomorrow's class. And then I've explained like how to set up WebID tool. If you want to use WebID tool, first you have to register your email ID and password under this website. You will get a mail. Under this website, if you register with password and email ID, you will get an email to your inbox which provides the WebID URL. Copy that and open in browser to open WebID tool. So this is how we can connect to WebID tool. And after that, I told you how to importing standard theory app into WebID. So that's a procedure I provided here. You can just go through that. And after that, what I've done is I've imported one purchase order approve and reject screen related application. Approve purchase order theory standard application I've imported, and I was explaining what are the files available in that, app. Okay. And after that, I was explaining what is the main functionality of that app. The main functionality of that app is to approve or reject a purchase order or multiple purchase orders. Then I started explaining what are the different tags available in SAP.m which can be used in theory. So panel comes from SAP.m library, and these are generally used in theory apps. Panel I've added, then I've added some text field, link field, image field. After that, I've taken carousel, that's a screen element. And after that, I've explained how to use a form and form with all the fields. You can see here. These are the form with all the fields. Input fields, drop down, radio button group, switch, checkbox, text area, slider, date picker, etc., etc. I've added here. And in the last 20 minutes, I was talking about how to add custom style class to form in a theory screen. So custom style class is nothing but just create your style class. Create your style class here with some properties which I explained in our UI5 applications, and after that you can attach that style class to class. You can attach that style class to class under your simple form or a table or whatever screen element. So that is the general thing that is the main part of today's concept. Just go according to this. Okay. First, what you do is today what you do is first try to register username, password, email ID in this website. Then they will send SAP will send one link for connecting to WebID tool in browser. First try that. After doing that, you will get some doubts. So tomorrow I'll clarify. The first thing that you need to do is register here in this website, account.hanatrial.ondemand.com. Okay, yeah. And tomorrow we are going to discuss some more options in this theory, table, formatter concept, and some I-1810 resource files, resource bundle, etc., we are going to discuss. Okay. After that, I'll clarify all the doubts one by one. Okay. Friends, it will be same time. Tomorrow also we will start at 5:30. 5:30 to approximately 8:30 or 8 I'll take. Okay. They're all simple things. You need to know how to add the tags, what are the tags and from where they are coming from and what are the properties of each tag. Okay. Yeah.